What's up, guys? This is Ed Gregory from photosincolor.com, and today we're doing another PIC live challenge, and today it's animals. Here we go. Okay, so I have posted this onto the Facebook page. That's where you can get the link to this video. Beneath the video in the description here is a Dropbox link. All you have to do is click on that and you can upload an animals photo to me, and I'm going to be taking a look at this live today, and we can actually have a look at your images, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts. So this is only the live show number 3, so we're keeping things pretty broad at the moment, but as we move forward each week, I'm going to be giving you new challenges to do, and I'm going to be reviewing your photos. Now, one other thing that I want to talk about with this, because I've got lots of questions about this, is you guys want to see some of my photographs in this style. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be uploading one of my photographs to Instagram, and you guys can go on and you can review my photograph. So let's do that right now. I already have here a photograph that's going to go live on Instagram right now. That is Photos in Color on Instagram. All you have to do is go on, you can look at this photograph. It is one of a monkey, and I'm going to hit share right now, and you can go on and comment on that and tell me what you think of my photo. Okay, so let's jump in and have a look at your images. Here we go. So first of all, here we are looking at this photograph here. We're in Lightroom, and we are actually having these imported live during the show, so keep on uploading your photos. Let's look at this first photo here. This was sent in by Rosie White. So Rosie is actually sitting next to me. She's my girlfriend, and she's obviously decided to take part this week. So I'm gonna have to be not too harsh on her. Okay, so I actually know, the reason why I know this is Roger. I know this dog, a very adorable dog. I think this is a wonderful photo. Rosie, what did you take this on?
Oh, my phone.
So this was taken on an iPhone, which is how we've got that nice shallow depth of field. So just to give a quick review of this, I think that the composition is really great. Whenever you're shooting with animals, getting to the eye line of the animal is really important. So you're not shooting down onto them. My guess is you've used portrait mode, which is how we've got this nice, beautiful, shallow depth of field, which Apple seems to be able to do. I think this is a great photo, Rosie. So well done.
Thank you. I think you might have taken it.
So, seems like that may have been my photo that I took, so I just reviewed my own photo. Therefore, it is perfect. Okay, let's keep moving on. Oh, wow. So this is sent in by Carl Spangby. And this is a beautiful photograph of a cat. I think you've done an amazing job here. We see hundreds of photographs and snapshots of cats, and the reason why this photo looks so good is because you have created layers. You have something before the cat, creating this nice shallow depth of field. You've got the cat, and let's zoom in here, pin sharp on the eyes, and it's lit by the sun coming in through the window. It's like a perfect portrait of a cat. And then behind you still have some other depth. I literally can't pick a fault with this image. I think you have done an amazing job. Carl Spangby, you rock. Great work, thumbs up. Okay, moving on. Jimmy C. Wow, what a stunning image. You guys are so good at this. So now I'm nervous about you going to my Instagram and looking at my photos, because you might hate it. So this, to me, is storytelling at its best. There is a dog. I'm not sure what type of dog this is, but it's an adorable dog. I love its sad ears. And what it looks like to me is it's sitting on a bridge or a walkway. It's got this sad look on its face. Why? Because the ball is just out of reach because it's still on his leash. For me, this is wonderful storytelling. You've got an emotion. You've almost got a human emotion there from the dog. So it's really feeling kind of sad and all of those things. And then you've got the ball out of reach. Again, I think you've done a great job. We've got a nice shallow depth of field. And you've even got some people in the background. Now, you could have got rid of them, but I actually like the people walking on the bridge because it gives the dog a location. I'm almost going to say this is a fine art print. If I was going to be picking one fault on this, it would be that the focus, and this is so hard with animals, the focus that you've chosen is right on the tip of the nose. Just like taking a portrait photo, what you really want to do is try and put the focus on the eyes itself. So outside of that though, I think you've done a great job, and I also like the editing on it's like a black and white, but it's almost a cream tone. So Jimmy C, absolutely amazing work. Okay, so this one, David Collett from and it's called Happy Feet. Well, okay, so it's kind of from the movie Happy Feet, which, was that a Pixar movie? Pixar? Disney? Pixar. We think it's a Pixar movie. Rosie loved that movie. I remember watching that movie. This is one of those penguins that has the hair on the head, and I think that means that it's from the South Pole. I believe that's the difference. I'm going to put it out there. If I get any of these facts wrong, just comment in the comments here and tell me that I'm completely wrong on this. Somehow not somehow, amazingly, wonderfully, you've managed to get those eyes nice and sharp, which my guess is the penguin was moving, so you've done a really good job there. One thing that I would do, if I'm going to pull out this editing on the side here, I would want to look at the exposure on this and maybe just lift it out. I'm also going to say, and I might be wrong on this, but I think you may have used the clarity slider a little bit much. It's added a lot of contrast to the image. Maybe I can't pull it back because it's a JPEG, so I don't know what you did to it, but I would personally reduce the contrast on an image like this just to kind of bring it forward that little bit. Outside of that, I think it's a beautiful photo. Really good work. Okay, so before we continue, remember this is a live show. What that means is you can speak directly to me, so leave your comments in the description. Description? No, there's like a comment section. Live. So you just leave that in the live chat and I can just respond to you right away. So feel free, get in, ask some questions, and I'll try and get to some as soon as we possibly can. Do we have any questions?
We actually do.
Okay, let's have a question.
Frederick, hi Ed, always great stuff here, good channel, thanks. Can you please do a video about photo cropping, particularly for portrait? Thanks again. Okay,
so that's a great question. Somebody that loves the channel, thank you so much for liking the channel. In fact, while we're on that, I may as well throw it in there, please subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and also next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell. Click on that bell. What that means is when we go live, it means that you're going to get a little notification. That's all, or when I post a video. So do that for me. Cropping, let's talk about cropping very quickly because we're doing animals at the moment, but we'll talk about cropping. What you want to do is, for a portrait particularly, you want them to fill the frame. Now, if you're going to do a 10:8, so it's going to be nice and close here, you usually actually want to crop a little bit of the hair off, just so that they're actually in the frame. Now, if you have more space around the outside, you want to leave a bit up at the top. Basically, when you look at an image, you shouldn't ever feel like the person is kind of squeezed into the frame, and you shouldn't also feel that the person is kind of low down and there's all of this space at the top like this. So if I'm going to frame myself in the image here, let me just do this. I'm going to try and do it live. This here would be a crop if we were going to be in 16:9. That's basically what you're going to be looking for. An example, because we're showing too much of this, we shouldn't crop the hair. That's going to be too much. And down here, I'm just going to be too low in the frame. So you don't really want to center someone bang in the middle. I hope that answered the question, but I actually have a video on YouTube which is all about portrait photography. The thumbnail is a girl, she's wearing like a red top, I believe, and it's all blurry in the background. Take a look at that because I talk about cropping within that and how to kind of frame it and then crop it in post. Any more questions? One more?
Yeah. Could you clarify what is soft proofing?
What is soft proofing? Okay, the best way to find about soft proofing is go to my channel again. I have 2 in-depth videos on printing in Lightroom. There's part 1 and part 2. Watch those videos. I basically go through everything. The idea with soft proofing, briefly, is when you used to print photos, if you're going to print like a massive image like so, you would often print a smaller one, which would be a proof. And what that would do is you could check the color, you could make sure that the color that you see on the screen is the same color that you see coming out of the printer. Printers have ranges of color that they can print. It's got to be in something called gamut, which is it within the range of the printer, the color space that it can print. So you'd print a proof of it. Now, the great thing about Lightroom, it allows you to do a soft proof, meaning you don't need to actually do that print. You can put in the printer profile and you can get it all in Lightroom, click soft proofing, and it will show you if an image is going to appear the same from the printer you're using or not. That's a very brief outline, but just go to my channel and search for printing in Lightroom. And I give a very simple overview of that. If you search it on YouTube, it is a girl wearing a red leotard stood on some rocks. She's beautiful and it's a great photograph, and that's the image that I use because red's a hard color to print. Okay, so we are going to jump back into doing some editing. We've got loads of new photos coming in, so just give me a second while those all appear. Okay, so let's move forward and have a look at some more images. Okay, we have a photograph of I'm going to guess it's some kind of a monkey or chimpanzee. Focus looks like you've missed it. It's kind of at the rocks behind, and it's in a zoo, or it's somewhere public because you can see these back here. So this is a great example. Let's do some portrait cropping just because we had that question. So if I was going to crop this image, if I kept it in the same aspect ratio, I'm holding down Shift so I keep the same aspect, and I'm going to crop into the monkey like so, and I'm actually going to frame this one pretty much bang on in the middle. And that there is a way better framing. The problem is we just don't have the quality in the image to zoom in that far. Therefore, if I was to go back to the crop tool up here, what I would probably do with this image is just crop out that fencing at the top. Animals are hard, but always try and focus as much as you can on getting sharp faces, just like you would a portrait. So nice work, Renita Malik. Okay, so wow. Okay, brilliant photograph. Nitin Jain. Sorry guys if I don't get your names right. I'm not the world's greatest pronouncer of people's names, so that happens quite a lot. Beautiful photograph. So there's a number of things that work perfectly within this. They've actually used the rule of thirds, and we can show that by bringing up the crop tool here. You can see that where this splits here and here, they are right on that cross point of the top right-hand third. Beautiful. The green of the bird with the green of the leaves and the green of the grass underneath fits perfectly. There's even a little bit of blue underneath the eye here, which matches the blue of the background. The color tone on this image is fantastic. The sharpness seems spot on. My guess is you've cropped in on this image. It may have been originally a little bit wider. You can see that with the quality. Let's see which camera this was taken on. See if I can come over to the library view. I don't know how to actually. Let's come over here and let's look at the metadata, and it does not tell us any information. Where possible, guys, please leave your metadata in the image so we can actually take a look at it. But I think you've done a wonderful job at capturing this. Just the line that goes through the image is exactly what we're looking for in an image like this. I'd print that and stick it on my wall, for sure. Natin Jain, great work. And another one of a bird. This is by Valentin Diakonu. It's a lovebird, and it looks like it's living inside a coconut. Now, this is a great example of absolute sharpness. Look at the feathers on that. You've nailed your focus on this. My guess is you've added a little sharpness in post-production. But this is a wonderful, wonderful photograph. You guys are amazing at taking animal photos. Like, really, quite amazing, actually. So congratulations, Valentin. Okay, so this image here from James Wolfe, what I'm guessing is you're capturing a photo of something that you saw. I don't know if that is a sea lion mounting another sea lion or something, or maybe it's just going in for a hug. Or is that a hippopotamus? No, that's a sea lion. So a few challenges with this. It's a little too dark. It's not quite sharp and in focus. My guess is what you needed was a faster shutter speed for an image like this. You shot at ISO 640, 85 mil, 1/2000, 1/1250. That should have been fine. We just not got the sharpness on there. Maybe it's the camera you're using, or maybe you just had too much motion in there.
It's a manatee, not a sea lion.
It is a manatee. I've just been told it's a manatee. So, sorry, I don't know my animals very well. Did you know that when I was younger, I wanted to be a vet? But I decided not to be a vet. And that's good, because I wouldn't have known anything about any of the animals. Anyway, there you go. Let's move on. Nice work, James Wolfe. So this is from Tamislav Sabuta. Great. This is a wonderful photograph of a duck. What I like about this image is I love storytelling, and especially when it comes to animals. For me, this seems like this duck or whatever this is. You see, I'm terrible at what type of animal is this?
Oh no.
A goose. It's a bird of sorts. Tell me what it is in the comments. What I love about this, it's got this character. It's got its head held high. It's marching forward. It's looking over to the side. For me, give it a pipe and I don't know, like it's going to be in an old stately home. That's what this bird looks like. And to me, that's the great thing about taking photographs of animals. We get to give it a story or emotion. Maybe what I would want to do is just bring out the shadows a little bit in the actual face. So for this, I'd use the brush tool. Okay, double click effect. And what we're going to do is I'm going to lift the shadows a little bit like so and click on auto mask. And what I'm literally going to do is if I paint over the face here, like so, what I'm actually doing is clearly I'm going to go too far with this, and that's the great thing about Lightroom is I can go too far, and then all I have to do is pull the shadows back. I think that looks really great. And if I look at the before and the after, all I've done is I've just lifted that bird out a tiny little bit just to give it a little bit more of effect. So Tomislav, really great work. Sorry, can you say it out loud, Rosie?
Remind people about your Instagram.
Oh, so on Instagram, remember, I have just posted a photograph. It's actually of a monkey. So it's your opportunity to go on and review my photograph. So just hop over to Instagram. It's photos in color, and it's the very top image just there. Also, while I talk about Instagram briefly, what I actually do each week is some of my favorite photographs that I have here. I'll actually post a few on the Instagram account, and that's why I asked for your @Instagram in the name, because I'll actually tag you and celebrate you as a photographer. And then throughout the week, I'll actually use them in my story so that we get hundreds of views on these stories, and hopefully those people will come and look at your photographs. So Photos in Colors Instagram, follow the stories, and you'll be able to hopefully see your photograph. Okay, let's jump back in here and have a look at another one. Okay, so this is from Dawn Shearer. This is just the cutest thing ever. Look at this. This is all, what I love about this image is the animal is so small in it. But that's the idea. It's kind of like, it's almost like you were taking a photograph of a landscape and the trees, and this animal has just gone, whoop, hello, and it's just popped in. Again, it's got great story, wonderful emotion. That animal just looks cheeky to me. And if I see that in an animal, it's no longer about the sharpness of the image. Instead, it's about the story that we're telling. And I think this is a great story. Anybody have an idea what this animal is? Is it a raccoon? Raccoon. I was going to go for raccoon. We've gone for raccoon on this one. If we get it wrong, please tell me. Okay, let's keep moving forwards. So this is from Imar Samaray. Don't know how to say that properly. Beautiful image. We've got a wonderful reflection down here. What I would look for in this is a little bit more on the exposure. So I'm going to lift it up, maybe bring my highlights down so I bring back the detail in the bird. And I'm not a fan of vignettes, but I'm going to put a vignette on this image because I think, so that comes under effects, and we're going to go like this. I think that's going to give a little bit of a focus on the bird itself. round it out a little bit and let's feather it quite a lot. So let's look at the before and the after. Maybe I've made it a little bit too bright, so I'm going to bring back the whites. So something more like this. I like it. I think I just like to be closer on the bird, or at least let's straighten the horizon. Something more like this might work better. I don't know. I like the image. Let's have a look at the focus on this. Let's see if we can actually pull in. Oh, that's as far in as we can actually go. Unfortunately, the image doesn't have quite enough quality to see what we could do there. Great image. I like what you're doing. I think a little bit too much contrast, though. Okay, let's move on. Ooh, this is a snake. Look at that. This is clearly shot at a very shallow depth of field. It's a low quality image. Guys, if we can upload an image in a slightly higher resolution, that would be really great, just so that we can really get in and have a look at these images. Not a biggie, but just it would be great to see more. So this is one of a snake, maybe it's a small snake inside some woods. Nice shallow depth of field, brings in the focus to the eyes. We've got great attitude from the snake. It looks really scary to me. Really great work. I really like that. That's from Javier Mendez, if I got your name right. Oh, look at this little cat. Okay, so this one is from Srikanta Basik. Really great photograph. It's almost like the cat's kind of winking at me. This is something that I would say about this image, and a great note whenever you're taking photographs of animals, or if you're taking photographs of your own animals. Think of it as you want to get down at the level of the animal, because as a human we look down on animals, right? Because we're usually higher. So if you get down and you start seeing things at its level, you get a completely different perspective of the world, and you kind of enter the world as from the animal's point of view, and that's something which is really exciting, especially if it's just your own cat, so you can kind of capture what it lives. Okay, great image, nicely exposed. I would probably bring down the exposure of the background just to kind of make the cat pop out. We're actually going to try to do this. I'm going to use the gradient tool, and I'm actually going to go like this. Now I'm not going to show how well this is going to work because I'm using the new Lightroom, and we're going to see what we get from this. I'm going to bring exposure way down. You see we've kind of ruined the cat, but we have this new feature called range mask, and we're going to use luminance, meaning you've got the shadows and the highlights. What we want to do is the mask only to appear in the shadows. So we're going to cut off it from the highlights. You can see as I just bring that luminance mask back, it's removing it from the cat. And what that means is I can really alter the background. You see how much darker I can make it? And to look at the mask, I hit O, and I can now see that it's kind of cut out the cat really well. We're using it on the eyes a little bit. So let me brush tool, and let me go to erase, and I'll just literally erase it from the face, like so, and then hit O again. And now, when I come out, and if I look at the before and after, already, before and after, the cat is kind of just a little bit more alive. We've also got something down here, so let's try cropping anything out that we don't actually want. Maybe make it a little bit of a widescreen image. There we go. Before and after, I think we've got a little bit more out of that photograph. But nice work. Okay, whoa, look at that for a close-up of an owl. Beautiful. Don't owls look like they're so clever? Maybe that's just marketing, that they're always wise old beings. But I love this photograph. Very sharp. The owl looks super alert. I love the feathers coming off. You've managed to get it all in frame. It's right at the top of the frame here. But Jarko Hoing, and this was taken in Eastern Europe. Either way, this is a wonderful photograph of an owl. Cropped really tight, and I'm not usually that much of a fan, but I think you did a great job of this. So, really great work. Do we have any questions? Yeah, loads. Great, loads of questions. Keep the questions coming in. And after this, if you want to write the questions on Instagram, I'll try and answer them there as well.
From Peter Demons, how can I focus on the eye on a full body photo when the focus points are just as big as their head?
How do you focus on the eye? Okay, so what we talk about there is if you're doing a full body photo, right? And then you want to focus in just on the eye. Now you have to think about this in terms of diminishing returns, if that makes sense. If you're taking a photograph of somebody this big, the amount of pixels that it takes to create the eye is far higher than if you're a long way away and what you have is the pixels that are on the eye are going to be far fewer. Therefore, it's not quite as critical, if that makes sense. So kind of think about that a little bit in terms of full body, aim for the eye as good as you can, but it's not going to matter that much because if you focus on the face, my advice though is don't focus on the nose because that always pulls forward. So if you can just get the focus point in this area, it means you are going to get the focus. Whatever you do, avoid the ears. That will mean that you'll focus at the back of the head, so it will be out of focus. So you're never going to get it perfect on a full body shot, but it also doesn't matter as much. So just aim for this section where possible. That makes sense.
Cam. Hi Ed, greetings from South Africa. Any general tips for taking pics of animals? Love your work.
Okay, so from South Africa, how are we doing? General tips for taking photographs of animals, I've mentioned a few. Number one, get yourself in the world of the animal. In fact, we were at Tahoe this summer. This is kind of funny. We were in bear country and there were these signs everywhere that says, see a bear, be it. What was it? See a bear, think bear, act like a bear. And interestingly, I saw that and I thought that's perfect for photography. If you want to get involved in something, if you want to take a photograph of an animal, try and think like the animal and don't act like the animal, obviously, but get into its world. That's what's really important. For example, we had the photograph earlier of the cat and it was behind the little plant and everything. Well, I felt like that's what the cat would see. If it was to turn around, it would be looking through that plant. So that's a really, really great technique. The other thing is, treat it like you would do a person or a portrait. Don't be afraid to set the scene a little bit for a cat, and then you can just introduce it in with some food or something like that. So don't think that with animals, animals are stupid and you just got to grab a snapshot. It might take a little bit more time, but you can always do it with animals. So think about your photos. Think about the lighting conditions. If you're outside taking a photograph of a horse, just like taking a portrait of a person, shoot during the golden hour, because it's going to be a lot more flattering to the face. The same for a horse. So always think about those things. Yep. Anything else? One more and then we'll get back into these photos.
So many. From Heather, you spoke about keeping the focus on the eyes of animals. They are constantly moving and it is difficult to focus. What is the best way to focus fast? Are there any tricks? I'm new to photography.
Okay, so focusing fast, and how do you actually do that when something's moving a lot? So there's a number of techniques with this. Remember with focus is forwards and backwards, not left to right. So for example, if you're trying to focus on an animal, right, and its head movements are like this, that's going to be a problem. But if its head movements are like this, it really doesn't matter. So try and find yourself in a situation where their movement is within the focal plane going left to right, because that means they're always going to be in focus. If they're moving forwards and backwards, that's way more of a challenge. There's a few techniques for this. One is a lot of the newer cameras, they are able to focus extremely fast with phase detection, with all sorts of clever bits of technology. But you don't need all of those things. For example, if you're going to have a dog and you want to take a photograph of the dog, maybe have it run towards you. What I often do is this. I've got a dog that's going to come towards me. I'm going to get down at its angle. I'm going to choose on the floor at what moment I'm going to take the photograph. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the grass, if it's on grass. And I'm going to focus on the grass down here. And then I'm going to take it off autofocus and go to manual focus, call the dog, and when the dog steps on that bit of grass, take the photograph, and you're going to be a lot closer to being in focus. Hope that helps. It's just very hard to get focus of animals. The other way is most cameras out there have burst mode, or a mode which allows you to take many photos. So you'd basically set it into that mode, and as the dog's running towards you, when it gets towards that bit that you focused on, press and take as many photos as you can. One of those photos is going to be more in focus than the other ones. Okay, so let's take a break here for a moment because I want to say one thing to you about PIC Live. We are doing this every single Tuesday, 11 a.m. Vegas time. On Facebook, I have all the other hours across the world. I've not labeled every city, but I've labeled some major ones so you can figure it out. But we're going to start launching what we're doing, you know, in the show before. So we're going to talk about what is next week. Next week, we are doing live action. So all you'll have to do here, so it's another challenge. I'm challenging you to upload your best action photo that you possibly can. We'll hopefully going to have the actual upload link available on a Friday. We're not going to do it straight away after this video because the problem is we're just going to get too many photographs for people not tuning in. So remember, next week is action photography. Okay, let's jump in and let's do some more edits. Where did we get up to? We did the cat, we did the owl, oh, and another cat. Whew. Okay, so this is a scary cat. Now, I don't know if these eyes have been edited, added, or changed, but that is a very intense photo. I like it. It looks like it's a Halloween photo. A few things that I would say, you've obviously added a vignette to bring in the focus, which I like. My guess is you've boosted the color and sharpness of the eyes a lot. If you were aiming for it to be scary, then you 100% achieved it. If you wanted the eyes to pop, you took it too far. By going too far, it looks like the eyes are actually outside of the head, which means you've just added too much clarity and too much sharpness and too much color. So therefore, that's going to happen. However, I want to say, if your aim was to really create this super dramatic, kind of scary photo, then 100% Vandu Netto, you achieved it. So great work there. Okay, let's have a look at this one from Alec Polzin. Great photo. Is it me or does that bird look boss-eyed? It's like looking at it, looking down its own nose, which is kind of funny. Is that a turkey? No, it's a pigeon.
It's a pigeon.
It's a pigeon. I thought it was a turkey. I'm so sorry. That is definitely a pigeon. Fail. So with the edit there, it looks like you've added a little bit of a color tone to this. So if I was to take the color picker and select something which should be black, you can see here you added the blue. So if we make that black, it's going to make the background orange or peach. That's just personal preference. I'd have stuck with the black for the pigeon. And again, I would have focused, the crop is a little off on this. You're kind of missing out its feet. If I was to crop this and make it kind of more of a photo that makes more sense, I would want to crop it more like this. One thing, when something is looking in a direction, what you don't want to do is have the, you put on the camera on me. I'm going to try and do a demonstration here. So with this one, if I'm looking off the frame like so, what you don't want is for me to be like this and I'm looking at the edge of the frame and there's loads of space here. Instead, what you always want to do is have the back of the head close to the frame and you're going to be looking into space. So you're looking towards something. That's the best way to frame something, is to kind of, if they're at the side, they should always be looking into the frame as opposed to out of the frame. There you go. So that's what's happened here. I've cropped it so now it's looking into space, whereas the initial crop, it was kind of walking out of space. I don't know what just happened. What just happened? I messed it up. I ruined Christmas.
Undo it.
An error occurred. Okay. I'm going to quit out of Lightroom. I'm going to talk a little bit. Let's come back to this camera while we load this back up. What we're doing here, we have a lot of different things connected, and to get everything to run to YouTube smoothly, we have to run a number of different programs, and obviously I think that may have made it crash, but we're back in business now. Can we bring up this screen again so we can make sure we see it? We are back. So sorry about that. Let's move forward and do some more edits. Not sure what happened there. Okay, great photograph. Loads of shadows and everything coming through. Clearly taken, you know, on a very bright summer's day in the jungle. A monkey eating a mango. The image uploaded is not the highest of quality, so it's hard to see the focus. The focus looks like it's on the foot here, which looks like it is on the eyes, so you've done really well. What I would want to do is bring in the focus a little bit to this. So you can do that by adding a vignette, is one way of doing it. So we bring in a vignette like so, and that's just going to bring in the focus on there. And I would probably lift up the shadows on this image just a little bit. And now if we look at the before and after, now we just have that extra bit of focus brought into the actual monkey. But Cyril Chiquette, it is extremely hard to photograph monkeys, especially ones like this that like to jump around. So great work. Really, I love that. I love monkeys. They're so cool. Whoa! Okay, so this is from Giuseppe Chirico. What a fun image. This is a horse that it was taken with a very wide angle lens. You've got really nice and close. The focus is right on the tip of the nose here. It's a funny photo. Like this horse just has character. I feel like it would have a voice like this, you know? I don't know why I'm doing voices for these things. Look, he's even got like, his hair is parted at the top. This horse has such great character. I love it, really great work. It looks like you've added a vignette to the bottom. Personally, I wouldn't, and let me explain why. What you've got here is essentially you have to think about it as skin tone. The fur has skin tone, right? That's what you have to see it as. And as you go to the same colored fur, it's now black, yet the grass is green behind it because of the contrast of it. So what you've ended up with is a little bit of a weirdness at the bottom of the image. So personally, I wouldn't have done that. And if I had another go at taking the photograph and framing, I would try and get the top of the ear and actually get the hooves on the floor in there as well. But that's if I'm being very picky about that, Giuseppe. I think that is a great, great photo. Okay, moving on. Isidora Stanjovic. There you go, that was my attempt at your name. That's awful, isn't it? Sorry, I'm trying. So this is a photograph of a snake on a branch. Look at the snake, how's it even got into that position? I think this is a great photograph. I think that it's a little busy. I've not quite got enough focus in on this. I like that, you know, that there is green in the background, so it's kind of camouflaged and the focus is on the eye, but it's just a little bit busy. Maybe you could have moved around to the side to take a photograph, you know, from the front of the face and maybe the different background, but maybe it was in a zoo and you're shooting through glass, so you got no choice. It's an interesting photo, nice shallow depth of field, great work. I would just work a little bit on the coloring on this. I don't want to change the color of the snake because that is its green. You know, we could change the color of the snake, but that's going to get a little funky. Let's see if we can bring down the background a bit again. So I'm going to use the graduated filter tool. I'm going to pull down the exposure like so, and the shadows, and maybe lift the highlights so we don't kill everything. And then with this range mask, let's go for color. Okay. And if I go for the brown, yeah, it's probably not going to work very well, to be honest with you. For the range mask, luminance, the snake is in the highlights, so we can do a little bit of work there, and then we can brush and erase over the top here. So before and after, I think we have brought that snake back a little bit there, so great work. Okay, let's come out of that so we can move to the next image. Oh, how wonderful is this? This is from PH Photography, Ravi Ramchandani. What a beautiful photograph. Now, a few things with this. This is obviously a leopard asleep. My guess is it's in a zoo because I don't know that leopards would usually hang out next to a building like that. It looks very peaceful. It's very sweet. The focus looks like it's slightly off. Maybe it's even on the back wall a little bit, so I checked the focus on that. Framing-wise, I think you nailed it. Lots of space above the head and just part of it on the side. I think that you really nailed the composition of this photo is perfect. I think we do have a little element on the side there, so maybe I'd have just cropped that one piece out there. But Really, really great work, Ravi. Okay, let's come back to the other camera for a second because I want to talk about my channel. I took a break for a while from my YouTube channel because I was so busy with the studio, my studio In Color Studios, and now I'm back on YouTube and I'm with full throttle. We're doing this live thing, but I'm also going to be posting new videos. So later on this week, I actually have a video coming out. It's for this company called Oliver Lion, where we did a product shot of some watches, and here's a little bit of a preview of just some of the images from that. We're gonna play that now. But what we were doing within this photo shoot was taking these two watches and we were doing a really nice photo shoot to show the watches off, make them really sharp. The idea was to have no Photoshop involved, or very little. We did some focus stacking, but that was about it. So in a few days, I'm going to be uploading a full tutorial video about this, where you'll be able to see how we actually made the image. So be sure to watch that video. Do we actually have a copy of the image itself?
Picture?
Yeah, of the picture. In a moment, we're actually going to bring that picture up so you can see what we created in camera. So this here is the final image. This was taken in camera. The only thing that's done in Photoshop is we did focus stacking. Everything else was taken with the flashes that set up, and I'm going to walk you through all of that on a video. It's going to come out later on this week, so be sure to check that out. But for today, let's go back and let's get through some more images. We seem to have loads of uploads during this live show today, so this is very exciting for us. Okay, so a swan. I like it. Personally, I wouldn't have cut the whole swan off. Maybe you had no choice of this, but I kind of want to see more of the swan itself. My guess is the quality of the image isn't going to be maybe high enough for what we have as the image, but yeah, you're going to have to crop it like this maybe. This is a more interesting crop of that photo, so I'd do something more like that. And I'd lift the shadows a little bit because we've lost some detail on the image there. But yeah, nice photo. Let's keep going. Okay, so this is two cats playing, it looks like, from a roof to another balcony. And they've actually written from Tene Das, has written, sorry for the quality. Yes, you know what? Sometimes when we're taking photographs, it's not about the quality, it's about the story. These are obviously two cats that were playing from a roof of a building to a balcony. I like the story. I think that the image is not about the quality, it's just you need to be lower at an angle and we need to see more of the interaction between those cats. But it's a fun, playful image for sure. Okay, so this is from Taj Fintakraksanti. Whoa, what a wonderful name. I tried. So this is a really nice photograph. Shallow depth of field. I think that the focus is too much on this branch, actually. The cat is a little out of focus and too dark. So a way around this, let's bring it up. So we do have some detail here. We're just gonna have to push the image a little bit too far, I think, to bring that out. So let's talk about this for a minute. If you're shooting towards the sun, which is what's coming through these leaves, you're often gonna have a problem like this, especially if it's a dark cat or a dark animal or anything which is dark in the shadow. So a way to get around that is you can walk around it, so you'll be shooting so the background is darker than the subject. That's always a great thing with a rule of thumb with shooting. If you can make the background darker than the subject, it's a quick way to get a great photo. Okay, let's keep going. Wow, Tero Marin. This is Tessu the dog, shot in Finland. What a beautiful dog you have. The focus is pin sharp. This is a great example of what, my guess the dog was just playing, but there's been some thought has gone into this. We're low, so we're at the height of the dog itself. We're shooting up towards the sky, which means that over here, at the back of the dog with the hair, we've got that beautiful contrast so that it's lighter behind it and the dog just has that feeling. It's really stepping away from the background. Great, and another hard thing to do is nailing your white balance when you're shooting against snow, because it can often confuse the camera. But you've nailed it. I think this is a wonderful example of your pet that, you know, again, I'd have it as a backdrop of my computer. So really great work, or maybe print it. Beautiful job. Okay, let's have a look at this from Tom Gaunt. Tom is photo is his Instagram. Great, I love this image. Now, I think you've cropped off the feet. I'd love to have seen what it was actually standing on. But for me, this is one of those personality photos. It looks to me like the duck was there. He's looking at you. You've pulled out your camera and the duck's gone, no, not me. I've not dressed properly. I've not worn my makeup. Don't do it. It's got great emotion and great story. So just for that reason alone, it's a great photograph. I actually love it that you can't even see the duck's face. It gives it story. So nice work there. Nice work, Tom. Stefan Ristov. I mean, this is just a standard photograph of a duck, a mallard, in fact. You can tell that with the green of the head. I think that makes it a mallard. Is that right? Did I make that up? I hope so. Focus looks like it's on the back of the head, not quite on the eyes. Shooting from above, not low enough. I don't think it's a bad photograph at all. I just don't think it's that interesting. It's just a duck in water. Sorry about that. Okay, so these are some sea lions, each with very different emotions.
These are sea lions.
These are sea lions. These are not manatees, which I've now learned today. I like it. I mean, it looks to me, it's like a family portrait. You know, you've got if I was to make this into a story, I'd say you've got the guy on the right, you've got the mom on the left having a snooze, you've got the baby underneath the mom, and then you've got the teenagers in the background. I think it's playful, it's great. I think you've just missed, like, the composition, you missed off the feet on all of them. It's a little closer to the frame at the bottom, so a little bit wider would have helped this image, I think. But Brian McDonald, I think it's an adorable photo. Nice. Let's have a look at this. This is a deer by Luke Blasi. Nice photo. My guess is you've captured this image. You really wanted to kind of grab it. It's a little blurry. It's a little out of focus. For me, this is more about you capturing something that you experienced, and you really love what you experienced and you wanted to capture the moment. As a photograph, I think it's more of a representation for what you saw as opposed to a really great animal piece of photography. We're going to keep looking at a few here. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah,
okay, loads of questions. Keep the questions coming in. Keep the comments coming in on my animal photo on Instagram, because I'm looking forward to reading how you criticize and ridicule and attack me, or maybe you just like the photo. That would be nice. But check it out on Instagram, Photos in Color. Before we go to questions, I'm going to do two more reviews down here. Alberto Garay, this is a nice photograph of a cow. We're shooting a little bit from above. I'd have got down a little bit lower. Cow, bull, maybe. It's a little flat as an image for me. Maybe the exposure's a little too high. Maybe something more like this. Okay, so we see we've brought that back to life a little bit by what I did there is I brought the exposure down and I lifted the highlights up. And I think we've come to life a little bit more with that. Nice photograph. It's kind of a portrait of a cow. It's kind of cool. I like it. And one more before we go to questions from Filippo Misio. This is kind of a fun shot. We've obviously got an owl, but what's fun about this photo is the owl is completely covering the face of its handler, which I think tells two stories. The first story is that it's just an amusing photograph, to kind of look at. But then the other thing is, like, the importance here is the owl and not the handler. It looks like it was taken in some kind of, one of those reenactment days from like the 1800s. Beautiful. Is this a snowy owl? I don't know. I got that from Harry Potter. But I really like it. Oh, it's Hedwig. And the color grade, we've added purples for the darks. And I think it's really nice. So good work. Let's go to some questions. Here we go, question time.
Hi lots from your channel and you are doing good stuff here for beginners and learners. And I would like to know what other tips you would give for travel photography.
Okay, what tips would I give for travel photography? Well, thank you so much for tuning in, for liking all of my videos. Travel photography, it's about the experience. That's what you're trying to tell. What is the experience while you're traveling? So it's less about setting up shots. It's very similar to street photography, but it's about showing where you're traveling to. It doesn't necessarily mean you go to Lake Louise and you take that amazing photograph of the lake. Now, obviously, get that photograph, but if you're traveling to it, maybe the story is, you know, the guy wearing a backpack standing in front of Lake Louise. Maybe the travel is on the train in Southeast Asia with your flip-flops on and your feet are all dirty because you're traveling and you got your backpack and all of those things. I went backpacking for nearly a year and loved it, and that was one of my experiences, was not just taking the photos, but actually the experience of what I was doing. They actually ended up being better photos than just like, I went to this place. Big photograph of that, perfect. What was more interesting was, here's me getting to that place. Here was me struggling to buy the ticket at the train station. You know, things that have action in it show travel, because travel is about actively doing something. So try to capture that. Yeah, one more question.
When or when not to use Vignette?
Vignette. When or when not to use Vignette. Use it whenever you want to use it. Don't use it if you don't like it. For me, when it comes to Vignette, try to think about what is the effect of the vignette. So if, for example, we had that horse and we had the skin tone, then adding a vignette that then affects the bottom of the top part of an image, now it looks a little bit weird to me. Vignette is great at applying focus to something which is in the center. Now, if your main subject is off to the side, my rule is never use a vignette, because now it's really weird. So use it sparingly. I actually have a video, a Photoshop tutorial about vignettes and creating other ones, because I wouldn't use a vignette. Instead, what I would do is I would use the brush tool and bring the exposure down and actually paint around it, and then you can erase sections to kind of bring it back out. That's what I would prefer to do than just add a vignette to everything. Unless it's your style in portraiture that you want to have a vignette around every single face and you're shooting against a grey background or something, then that's something different. In fact, if we go to the wide shot here, you can see that I've actually created a vignette inside. This is Studio 2 at InColor Studios. And to create this vignette, all I actually have is I have a light behind on the wall. It's a white wall, and I've got the, it's vignetting out. But if you look at the difference here, when I put my hand, the vignette doesn't happen to my hand because the vignette is behind. So that's always the thing, is when you're adding a post, like when you're adding a vignette afterwards, you get something a little weird sometimes, and I'm not the biggest fan. Okay, let's go back in and let's jump into some more photos down here. Let's see where we got to. We got to the cow, we got to the owl. Oh, look at this photograph. This is just adorable. Let me see if we are looking at the entire image. Yes, we are. So let me have a look at this. I think that this is another fun storytelling photo. The focus isn't on the eyes, but you know what? It doesn't matter because it's on the hands. This is from Lindsay Partridge. Is this a raccoon? It is a raccoon, or raccoon, or whatever you want. I don't know how people pronounce it, a raccoon. For me, it looks like it's in the audience and it's applauding somebody. Maybe it's trying to catch something. Oh, we have more images come in while we're live. Let me see if I can come back to this raccoon photo. What a wonderful, fun photo. It's like it's trying to catch something, or for me, actually, because raccoons can't open their arms like this, they always come like this, it looks like it's going to start applauding. It's got a little smile, it's a little cheeky little thing, and this is a great example of an animal photo. Nice work. Okay, so this is, my guess is a black Labrador dog. I can see that it's a strong style here. We've got like the dog coming out. I don't know if it was using a flash on top of the camera is my guess, which is why we've got the very flat feel. I'm going to see what detail we actually have inside this by lifting the exposure. So we have all the detail of the dog. We've just opted to see only where the flash has done it. I think stylistically, it's got a very strong style. It's kind of coming out of the black. So I like it for that reason. I think it's just the flash is a little harsh. So all you're getting is you don't get any tone. You just get highlights on individual hairs. So I would probably have moved the flash to the side and it would have given us a little bit more tone and shape to the dog's face. But interesting, and I really like it. I had a black Labrador, it's called Bouncer. And it was called Bouncer because if any of you are Australian and used to watch Neighbours, there was a dog in Neighbours called Bouncer. And I named my dog that. So there you go, dog called Bouncer. There was a black Labrador. Oh, look at this one. This one here is one of the cutest photos. Look at that. This is an example on multiple ways of a great photograph of a family dog is what I guess. It feels like a portrait, but you can see behind it, it looks like it's underneath a table in a house. Therefore, the story is this is a dog that's like where it feels comfortable. Look at it, it is comfortable. It looks like it is just having the time of its life. The focus right on the tip of the nose, which for this shot, I would do this, the eyes are closed. So let's focus on something more interesting, which is its wet nose. Its face is kind of leaning on the floor. Everything about it, it's almost perfectly symmetrical, which is exactly what we want. You've even got the tiles are symmetrical, that are leading lines into it. You've got the chair legs, which are pointing into it. You've got the nose almost lined up with the back behind it. Like everything about this is absolutely what it should be. One other element that I want to talk about that you've nailed on this, who is this? This is Sebastian Lubinski. The color grade. Look at this. The skin tone of the nose and the skin and the fur and the floor and even the background, like everything just ties in. This feels like it's the perfect photograph of this dog who is having the perfect day of its life. So Sebastian, thumbs up to you. Nailed it. Absolutely amazing. Oh, we're back to this cat again. Don't know where that came from. Okay, so pigeon, a white pigeon amongst dark pigeons. I like the concept behind this. Great example of when to use a vignette. There's a very light vignette on this. My guess is, well, there's actually graduated filters is what's been added. I'm going to show you what I think has been added here. They've taken a graduated filter like so, and then what you do is you bring down the exposure a little bit and you bring down the sharpness. And then you do the same thing at the bottom, you make a bigger one, and you do exactly the same, bring down the shadows maybe, bring down the sharpness, and that's how you kind of add in that focus to the bird. Now, that was already done before I got to the image, I would say, so great work with that. The focus is on the bird, which is odd one out, as it should be. Really, really great photo. This is from a deer at Hamunduk. Maduk. Hello, Maduk. Sorry, great work. I really like this photo. It's probably not quite as sharp as I'd have hoped, but I don't know what camera you're shooting on. But great. I mean, it's pretty sharp actually. Actually, looking in, good work. Really, really nice. Let's move forward. Oh, look at that. That is an action shot of a dog from Ahmet Dagbarsi. This is a dog playing on a beach. He's catching a stick. I think it's perfect. I would just want to have that dog looking at the camera. You know, that would just change it all for me. At the moment, the dog looks a little intense. If it was looking at the camera and it was a little lighter, that would look great. The only other thing that I would do with this would be get lower. Just get lower. Get to the height of the dog where possible. Outside of that, really, really great work. Another deer. Talk about deer caught in headlights. That's that photo right there. It looks like it's like in shock. They're doing it. You've captured it. Again, this is another example of seeing, capturing the experience that you had when you saw the animal as opposed to it being the world's really greatest photo. The reason is it's framed right next to a tree, and you can see that tree behind it is going through its head. So it actually loses contrast and it's harder to see. So if you could have moved, you can, but again, it's animal photography. You don't always have that as a choice. But really, really great work. So let's keep moving forward. I'm going to bust out a few more really quickly before we end this, because we're kind of running towards in fact, we've actually gone over the hour already, but I'm going to keep going. This is a butterfly shot. Love this photo of a butterfly. I think I would frame it lower. So put the butterfly higher in the image. So something more like this, and then it's going to actually give us a little bit more feeling towards the butterfly. But really great sharpness on the butterfly. You got two of them. Nice work. Ooh, look at this bird. It's like chilling out. It's like leaning over to that branch. This is from Marcel Cote, or Cote. I probably just ruined your name there. Nice work. You got the focus. Photographing birds is very hard. My guess is it was taken on a, 200 mil, maybe 400 mil. So you've zoomed way in on there. You've got the nice crushed background, giving it depth. A little hot on the highlights. I would have photographed it. Yeah, there's not much detail in the highlights, unfortunately. I'd have photographed it a stop darker and then lifted it in post-production. But a really nice photo. Really beautiful. Great composition. Ooh, look at that. That's a kingfisher right there. This is Sarah Cole. Very hard to photograph kingfishers. You've obviously found it. You've got it in there. I like that it's hiding amongst the reeds, and that really is the focus. Beautiful photograph, and well done for capturing a very healthy, chubby kingfisher. Is that a kingfisher? I may have made it up. I'm so sorry, guys, if I'd completely just made it up. I said kingfisher and it's not. Okay, let me come back here. Oh, so this is a nice picture of a dog. This is a great example of putting the subject to one side and then having it look across the other side. It's a little dark as an image, so I'd want to lift it. And then I think that the color tone is a little too warm, so I'd want to just bring that back a little bit. Just like that, just to kind of make it come alive a little bit more. Ben Poland, really, really nice. Great shot. Okay, so we've got a photograph of a bee going towards a flower. Bonnie Little, nice photo. Hard, really hard to do. You probably needed a macro lens for that. So it means that we're out of focus because you've got to have a really fast shutter speed there. It looks like the focus is more on where this leaf is at the back here. Great shot though, and you managed to capture it, maybe just spending a little bit more time with the bee to capture that image. But great work, Bonnie. This is a funny photo. Eddie C. This is brilliant. I don't know if that says Hershey's on it, maybe, because it was a dog who, is waiting for its supper. Quick note, I might be wrong on this, but I don't think you're supposed to give dogs chocolate. I think it makes them ill. Yeah. So I hope you weren't giving it Hershey's chocolate, because it's bad for a dog. But either way, it's a funny photo. Maybe it's his birthday. It's in a big park with a skyline behind. You've focused bang in there on the eyes. Looks like it was taken on a phone, actually, by the reflection. So freaking great work. I love it. Look at that tongue is out, shallow depth of field, loads of energy, lots of fun. This is like a fun, basically you've taken this dog as if it was a child on its birthday and taken it a photograph, and you've done a wonderful, wonderful job. Its name is Hershey. Eddie, thank you for tuning in and clarifying what your dog's name is. Adorable photograph. Let's do a couple more. Do you have questions? Yeah. A couple more questions, and then let's jump. I'm going to do this first from Erica Cooper. This is a bulldog. Look at this. This is a great example of, this is a strong, broad dog, and you've actually photographed it innocently while keeping it looking very broad. To do that, you've shot from above, which is a childlike, innocent image, but you've got the broadness of the shoulders. I think it's a great photo. I'd have maybe wanted to, I don't know if we can do it here and make it work, but I would want to have this square along the bottom, and maybe you've got his bottom in as well. But great work, Erica. Rosie, questions?
Yeah. Hi, can you please tell a little in advance when you will have live stream? It was a little hard this time to find out.
Okay, so live stream, yes, we will be doing, we'll let you know, well, I can tell you right now, next week we are doing a live stream and it is going to be, the theme is action photography. So go out there, find your best action photo. This is going to be what it'll look like on the YouTube channel. We usually make that live on Friday so that you're able to upload from Friday. We don't want to do it before because we just get too many photographs. So be sure to tune in. It's every single Tuesday at this time, 11 a.m. Las Vegas time, which is 7 p.m. London, 8 p.m. Europe, 6 a.m. Australia, or Sydney, and, you know, 2 p.m. New York, whatever, you'll get it. I can't remember all the time zones. But yeah, so it's all there. Okay, let's keep going. This is from Ivan Matthew. I mean, look at this dog. It's just adorable. What a cute, cute dog. I would just love to have seen a slightly different background on this, but saying that, it's just wonderful. Well captured, you're at eye level, exactly what we want to see. Maximilian Cool, great photograph. You managed to get the bird. Is that in your hand or with a camera, or is this somebody else's hand? Either way, you managed to get this, it's some kind of a finch or a tit to sit on your hand, and you've got a seed in the mouth. Like, wonderful work. Like, the sharpness is there. You got the hand to add context. Beautiful blur in the background. Fantastic job. Like, great work. Squirrel.
That one.
This is a squirrel poking his head through. Very funny. He got a good reaction. I think you've over sharpened it or you've cropped in too tight, so you've reduced the quality of the image. But either way, it made us laugh, and I think it's got a story. You know, it's a little cheeky one, which is always fun. Oh, so this is like a portrait. I would have zoomed in tighter on this and tried to get a tighter crop, or used a more of a focal zoom on this, that you could have got a little bit more of a blur. But something like this, we got a little bit more of a portrait feeling image. Salvatore Zompero, really, really great. Let's do 2 more questions, then we're going to close it out.
Hi Ed, this is more about photography as a whole than specifically just animals. But as a beginner, how do you stay motivated and comfortable taking pictures while people give you weird looks, for example?
Okay, so when you're taking photographs, if you want to set something up and it's in public and people start looking at you weirdly, unfortunately, as a photographer, you just got to get over it. You just got to be like, whatever. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to take these photographs. People look at you. Ask them. Say, hey, do you want to know what we're doing? Involve them. That's what I would always do. Like, definitely involve them.
What is the best way to network as a photographer?
Best way to network as a photographer is the way that you would network socially in any other circumstances. Get out there and get to know people. Talk to people. Don't pitch people too hard because people get annoyed with you. Just get to know people. They will say, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a photographer. That's enough. They might become your client in the future. So networking, it's always hard. We always think about like social media and all these things, but just do it locally. Like, go to parties. Go hang out with other creative people. You'll meet people. I'm going to flick through a few photographs because there's a few in here that I want to highlight. Number 1, this one here from Charlene Smith. What a stunning photograph this is. This, I don't know if you've done it in post-production, but you've managed to get them on a pure black background of a monkey, like cleaning, grooming its child or another monkey. Wonderful job. You've got the composition set in place, you've got the contrast right, you've got the sharpness right. Charlene Smith, this was really, really great. And then, let me see, like this one here, this is a great example of a challenge when it comes to shooting in snow. These dogs, in another situation, would have looked white, but here they look yellow. I don't know if they are yellow or white, but I love the photographs. You got a nice compression behind. I think it's a really great photograph. Okay, so we are going to call this live stream quits for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to do this every single Tuesday at this time. Next week is action, so we will be putting the link on YouTube on Friday. So take part in the challenge. Head over to the Photos in Color Instagram page. Some of these images I will be featuring on the story and on the page, and I've uploaded my animal photo so you can go and give me your criticism. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This was Ed Gregory for photosincolor.com.